Today, when you shit-can a whole studio, do try to remember to act sad about it. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint. There's nothing in the world that can stop the video game news.
The video game news is a relentless juggernaut building up speed and mass over time.
The video game news is a slow drumbeat, pounding unendingly into the unknown frontier.
Also, we're off for the next 2 weeks since we're filming Friday nights.
But that in no way diminishes the video game news.
What do you think the target audience for a Shin Megami Tensei game is? Obviously it's me, but what do I like? Well, wearing black and heavy metal music. Oh, and also leather in the summer because wind is cold. So would I go to Download 21, a heavy metal festival in the UK? Hell yeah, Mr. Bungle is playing. As are a bunch of other bands. I suppose I could see Fear Factory for the third time. Anyhow, Sega has decided to promote its upcoming game, Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, at Download Fest. And while several people have flagged this as an amusing piece of marketing, I think it's brilliant, and not just because I'm clearly the target demographic. I haven't personally been to Download Fest, but I've been to other all-day heavy metal festivals. Like I said, this would be the third time seeing Fear Factory. So imagine this. You've been drinking and moshing in the sun all day, and you feel like shit. Do you want to go sit down next to a porta potty or a guy chain-smoking blunts? Or do you want to go and hang out in a dark tent and play a video game with a demon that looks like a big weird cock? You're already an outcast. You're at a heavy metal festival. The answer's obvious. Brilliant marketing, Sega. And I know that we have a bad track record for us promoting your stuff and then you not, acknowledging our hard work at all. But if you need someone to promote Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, call me.
For this next story, I need you all to throw yourselves back to the 90s. The 1990s, by the way. Wash yourself in Zima, throw on some fresh Zubaz, and get ready for the Nintendo World Championships. In 1990, Nintendo held these championships to determine who was the best at getting through 6 minutes and 21 seconds worth of Super Mario Bros., Rad Racer, and Tetris. You know, gaming. It was as if the Fred Savage vehicle, the Wizard, had actually been a real thing. Nintendo resurrected the contest in 2015 and again in 2017, but instead of trying to gather a bunch of people in stadiums to play video games this time, they're just gonna let you play it at home on your Switch. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition is 150 micro-challenges set in 12 classic NES titles. And Balloon Fight! No, for real, Balloon Fight is also in this, and I think that's pretty cool. Big fan of Balloon Fight right here. However, I'm not that interested in picking up a copy for myself. Oh, why is that, Beach? Don't keep us in suspense. You see, folks, all I associate with Nintendo World Championships is disillusionment. I knew growing up that I was never going to be a Nintendo World Champion. Was it because I didn't play enough Nintendo? Absolutely not. Ask my mother. Was it because I couldn't take the pressure of sporting competitions? Absolutely. Ask my father. But do you know what the real reason was? I lived in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and there was no way we were on the Whistle Stop tour for the NWC. The closest competition was in Seattle, Washington, 12 hours away by car. And what were the chances my 10-year-old ass was going to get there by road trip? Ask my parents. Looking back, I think this is why I enjoyed the Fred Savage vehicle, the Wizard, so much. Two kids hitchhiked to California, and nothing bad happens. They laughed, they cried, they found a warp whistle. I'm surprised my parents even let me watch it, to tell the truth.
Democracy Management at Sony offered an entertaining swerve for fans of Helldivers 2 this week. A planned update to the game that would have seen all PC players forced to sign up for PSN accounts on May 6th was hastily retracted by the entertainment giant after players carpet-bombed the reviews on Steam and made their disgruntlement known all over Sony and Arrowhead's social media accounts. Sony backpedaled the decision on the evening of May 5th after living through most of 3 days of an unending swarm of mad gamers, and then they lifted the corporate white flag of still learning what's best for PC players. So, will the reviews of Steam pull back up? Will the game ever be available in Belarus or The entirety of Africa? We still don't know. And I know a PSN account sounds like an innocuous enough ask. After all, just give one more website your personal information, just a few more clicks, and then we'll all get off this rock. Right? No! Like a vicious and unexpected pod of terminids flooding onto your screen shortly after landing, news broke that gamers just don't want to do that, and they use their thumbs in lieu of trigger fingers to dispense peace, together, for ratio.
On Tuesday, May 7th, Microsoft announced the closure of 3 Bethesda subsidiary studios it acquired in 2021. Redfall developer Arcane Austin, Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks, and mobile studio AlphaDog Games, while a 4th, Roundhouse Studios, will be absorbed into ZeniMax Online Studios. We could be excused for thinking that Arcane Austin's fate was tied to Redfall being a critical disaster, except that Xbox President Matt Booty said in a town hall meeting with ZeniMax staff on May 8th that Arcane Austin's closure was not connected to the performance of Redfall. We might protest that Tokyo-based Tango Gameworks' Hi-Fi Rush was a critical success, with Xbox VP of Games Marketing Aaron Greenberg tweeting on April 21st, 2023 that Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. If you take out a ruler and draw a line of best fit between these two statements, you will find that nothing anyone at Xbox says even approximates anything worth paying attention to. It's all just meaningless meat squirting and flapping sounds made in order to keep up appearances. Don't listen to the words. Watch the behavior. We might also at this point talk about how this is likely part of the post-pandemic slowdown in the games industry, where growth during the early stage of the pandemic did not continue after everyone pretended that the pandemic ended. While that may be more truthful than the official statements, it conceals something else. Look, I get it. It's comforting to imagine that the system that articulates how our society allocates its resources, the economy, is governed by some kind of rational force. We're all parts of the economy, so you'd think we'd be invited to exert some kind of control over it. You make a successful product and hope to be rewarded. You like a thing, so you buy it and hope your financial support translates into more things like it. At this point, I think we all know that this isn't true, because if it was, Xbox would have accidentally won a console war by now. A caring society would look at something like that and decide it should be regulated. Any kind of society, caring or not, could even just watch the behavior of this complex system and develop strategies based on what long-term results it wants to produce. Instead, we have a de facto cast of oracles who make decisions based on momentary twitches of a complex system with labels like, "Video games make me feel less bad about the pandemic." And that has outcomes like 9,500 people lose their jobs in the first 5 months of 2024. They then make meat-flapping noises at shareholders who mash the button that says "sure" or the button that says "new oracle," which we call accountability. We do not live in a system governed by people who are prepared to plant a tree in whose shade they will never sit. We are governed by people who inherited a shady grove built by labor, fired the gardeners, and commodified the shade, which they believe is generated ex nihilo by market forces. Trees are a completely unrelated externality that can be acquired fully grown from suppliers, and if the thought catches anywhere in their minds, it's only to recognize that each time a tree falls, the remaining shade just gets more valuable, baby.
Despite the other games Niantic has launched and or canceled since 2016, Pokemon Go remains very popular and profitable, largely thanks to its dedicated fan base. And the word Pokemon, but those things are directly related. So, imagine that you're a Pokemon Go enthusiast, but you can't catch the newest mons added to the game, Wiglet and Wugtrio, because Niantic decided that they only spawn at beaches, as in beaches that exist in the real world and you live somewhere landlocked, nowhere near a beach. Well, if Pokemon Go still used Google Maps data for its terrain like it did at launch, you'd be screwed. But in 2017, they switched to using OpenStreetMap, which is user-sourced, and so some enterprising users have taken to inventing beaches that they can catch Pokemon at. According to Ars Technica, this isn't even a new problem, and OpenStreetMap contributors have repeatedly explained to overactive Pokemon Go liars that it's not even clear how often Niantic pulls new map data for the game, so this probably doesn't even work, and it hasn't stopped them from trying. And it won't stop me from putting my home on a beachfront to raise my property value.
Good show this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the break. It's going to be a great time to work on my skills.
Oh, don't give them hope. We're going to get better at this.
Coming up, in their latest investors call, EA CEO Andrew Wilson said the Battlefield development team has learned, quote, valuable lessons, but also that the next Battlefield game will be, quote, a tremendous live service. So it's unclear what lessons they've supposedly learned.
Good show this week.
Good show this week.
I mean, we did that part already, but it's fun.
Yeah, but you know what? I felt that you meant it the second time you said it. Technically, we've said it 3 times because we do a practice run.
Yeah. Everything we say in the intro and the outro are true. Like, we are going on break for 2 weeks.
Oh, I thought you meant in like every intro and outro. I'm like, Beesh, like I've said so much shit that's not true. Do not write those checks. But
No.
Beesh is right. We aren't.
It's good. Very heavy metal.
I'm sure Paul loves that feeling. Oh, it's inside my ears. But we are going on break for 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're going to be filming Friday nights. CheckPoint will still be happening live on Twitch, and then of course later on this channel. So you can always tune in for that, and we thank you that you do. It's going to be good though. We're going to get all that stuff. You also check out the live schedule while you're at it. You're going to notice there's going to be changes to our live schedule. That's completely normal. There might be different people streaming at different times, just making the difference. But we're really hoping to get Friday nights filmed and put together reasonably fast.
Yeah, and it's just easier if like, oh, look, everyone's available.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you for supporting Friday nights, and thank you for supporting us here on CheckPoint, through Patreon and through Twitch and like all the other things that you do to help us. But also on YouTube, YouTube members of the LRR Video Games channel, you're going to see some of their names show up right here after we're done talking.
Bye, friends.